They'd be best placed to come to a consensus, wouldn't they? Because as Jessica Maggio's pointed out to us, you need 2/3 of the vote. That's quite a test for a leadership contest, isn't it?
Yeah, so they'll one of the leading contenders, if he puts his name forward, is a guy called Chris Hipkins, and he did say earlier today that the best outcome for the party is for there to be a consensus candidate. As far as name recognition with the public goes, Hipkins, who was in charge of the COVID-19 response, is head and shoulders above anyone else. Whereas some of the other potential contenders, Justice Minister Kitty Allen or Immigration Minister Michael Wood, he's also the Industrial Relations Minister here. He would have to spend a lot of time introducing himself to the public, but he's long been spoken of as the sort of next generation of leadership, and he's, I guess, more of a creature from Labor's kind of industrial left, if you like.
Now, Jacinda Arden, she was so popular there. We all knew that here in Australia, and we also knew in the past few months, the rankings of the Labor Party and Jacinda Arden have plummeted, really. So what is there a number of issues you attribute that to? What do you attribute it to? Well,
yes, there are. I mean, I think a fair bit of it, if you think about COVID-19, I mean, it's been dog years for the government. Just Jacinda and her key ministers have been so overexposed compared to any other government in recent modern history. Inflation and the cost of living in New Zealand is really putting the pinch on a lot of people. Something like half of the country is going to be, half of the households in the country will be refixing their mortgages this year. For people who have not refixed for a couple of years, that could mean going from 2.5% to 6.5%. That's a pretty big hit. I mean, I was in Sydney over the summer, and it's fair to say that Australians are feeling the pinch, but a bag of groceries in Sydney was significantly cheaper than a bag of groceries in New Zealand. There's also significant challenges with immigration, as with everywhere else in the world. There's a big shortage of workers, and New Zealand really has a supply-constrained economy. So there's going to be, whoever gets the job, there's going to be, there's a lot of issues that they're going to have to deal with.
What did you make of her decision, Jacinda Arden, to call an election date? I mean, she's leaving. Why is it up to her to call a date? Reminds me of what Julia Gillard did before she departed.
Well, I mean, basically there is there's been precedent since John Key that whoever the Prime Minister is just calls an election date early in the year to give certainty to everyone. Obviously, they forego the traditional advantage of when you call the election, but it's been something that's resonated pretty well with the New Zealand public, and I think probably probably the Labor Party would have been pretty happy about that, because it's something that it's one less variable. The election date's set. Now they have to go ahead, pick a new leader, and then see how they go. But I mean, it's certainly Christmas came late for the centre-right leader Christopher Luxon this year.
I think he was in the box seat though anyway, wasn't he? What do you think this will damage her legacy at all, appearing to cut and run like this, or as we saw with John Key,
No.
This is something New Zealanders expect apparently?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, the whole country's been through a pretty rough time the last couple of years, particularly a bit of the unrest around the vaccine mandates. She's had to have extra security and protection, and hasn't been as really free to move around New Zealand as a lot of previous prime ministers have been. And I think she by her nature, she's not a complainer, but I mean, that really must have taken a toll, I think.
Luke Malpass, thank you for your time.
Thank you.